Hi everybody, it's Janet Dowel of Fun Stampers Journey, also known as Create a Fun Journey. And today we're going to learn about the different ways that you can use the Journey Gesso. Gesso, what it's originally for is it's a cover-up. So a lot of times what they do is they use it in mixed media to do cover-ups, and they will do a cover-up, say for instance, on a piece of scrapbooking, and then they'll do their journaling on it. But what we're going to do is we're going to start out here. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to do it showing you how to use it like painting. And what I did is I painted these 3 flowers that's on this cute little card. So we're going to learn how to do that. The next thing we're going to do is, like I was talking about earlier, is the cover up. Now, what I did is I took the busiest printed paper that I could find, and then what I did is I just rubbed my finger across it. And a lot of times that's when a person that does scrapbooking would journal over it, or you can stamp on it too. And that's what we did on this card, is we stamped on it. Then also the third way that we're going to learn is what I did with this card is I actually took a sponge and a stencil and I just sponged it on. Then what I did is I took the Fun Stampers Journey inks pads, the inks with the Dauber, and then I put the ink on it. And it came out like this. So those are the 3 ways that we're going to learn to use the Journey Gesso. I'm not going to do the complete cards on this. I will have all the information for these cards on my Facebook page. But for today, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you on how to use the Journey Gesso with it, okay? So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do this card here, and then we're going to paint on it. And what we're going to get is we'll get a clear black. That's what I like to use. And the Journey Gesso and the spatula. And all I did with it is just open up your Journey Gesso. This. And you don't need a whole lot. You just need very little. And for this project, we even need even littler, because I'm just going to do one of the flowers to show you and get you started. But all you do is you just put a little bit on the block, and then I took the medium mister with it and I just spray it a couple of times and then just mix it up, because what you want to do is you want to dilute it so that it's more pliable to paint, to be able to paint with it. So you want to just do this with it. Now, this gesso, Fun Stampers Journey Gesso, is a little bit on the thicker side. They have, so you can always dilute it if you need to make it thinner. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I cut out, and I already stamped and cut out the flower. And I'm going to take the blending brush, the medium blending brush, and all I'm going to do with it is I'm going to just dip it into the gesso and then just start painting with it. And it gives this awesome white look to it, and see-through look, and it's very cool to be able to paint with it and see it. Now, if you think that it's too light, you can always go back over it and make it darker, or you don't even have to, oops, that one's got too much. Or you don't even have to dilute it if you don't want to. You can just leave it the way it is. This one, that. When it dries, it will become more transparent, so you'll be able to see through it even more. And that's all you do to it to give it that cool look of see-through painting on it. Okay. So we're just about done with this. And then what I did to this is, after it dried on this one, you'll notice the one that's on the card I'll show you the one that's on the card. I don't know if you can see it, but it is shiny. You can see where the light's coming through the window. It's real shiny and sparkly. That is just because I took Fun Stampers Journey Silk and I painted over it after it was dried. So you can do that. You can also, after you paint it, you can also take the Journey Glaze, and you can put Journey Glaze on top of it too, and it will give it a different kind of look to it. So we're almost done with this. I'm on my last one. And that's how you do it. Isn't that cool? That is just so cool the way it is. So then what I would do is, if I wanted it to be a little bit darker than this, all I would do is just take my brush and just do it again. And then it will darken it up. Okay? So that's that one right there. We're going to put this aside. Now the next one that I'm going to do is the cover-up. And the cover-up is very, very cool. All you do with this one is you take, we'll switch these out here. All you do for this one is you just take the Journey Gesso, open it up, and all I did is stick my finger in it, like that, and then I just took it and I just moved it with my finger. I dipped a little bit more because I want it to be a little darker, because it does dry lighter, and you just move it like that. Then what you can do with it after that is then you just stamp on it. This one's gonna dry, so since this one's drying, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one that I had already done. This one here. I didn't make this one too, you can still see through it a little bit, and that's okay. But what we're going to do with it is we're going to take our black licorice ink, and then our Too Cute. And the Too Cute, where I got that from, just to show you, is I got that from the Too Cute stamp set here. And all we're going to do is we're just going to stamp on it, just like this. Put it in here. And if you wanted to, instead of stamping, you can write on it too. And I'm just going to stamp on it just like that. And there you go. There you have it. See how easy, quick and easy that is? I think it just takes probably 20 minutes for it to dry. But then once it dries, all you have to do is just stamp on it or write on it. So that's the next way that you can do. Now the last one takes a little bit longer to do it, and that way is we're going to sponge it on with a stencil. Now what I'm using for the stencil is this one right here from Fun Stampers Journey. It's a big stencil, but this one is called the Artful Wall, and we're going to use a part of it. And all I did was just take a piece of white cardstock, put it down here, okay, and then I took this where I wanted it, how I wanted it to be on here, the different swirls and the flowers, and I moved it around to where this is where I would like it. If you did not want to use one of the Fun Stampers Journey stencils and you saw a die that you liked, you just cut out your pieces and you can make your homemade die with it, and then go ahead and put it down and then just sponge it too. But I wanted to use this stencil. I just think this stencil is just so cool. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to dip a piece of sponge, and we do sell, the Fun Stampers Journey does sell sponges too. They're a full sponge, and I just cut it into fourths, but all I did was just hold it down like this, and then all I'm doing is I'm sponging it. And then you sponge the whole thing, and then you just lift it up and then let it dry. I do have one that we had done I'd done prior to this so that I can show you how to put the ink on it too with the Dauber. You can tape this down. I had taped one down prior to this, and I don't know if I wasn't doing it right or what. Maybe that's just not my strong point, is taping. But it just lifted up too. So I just find it just as easy just to hold it down into place, faster, easier to hold it down into place and just to sponge it really quickly. And I'm almost done with this. And then once we're done with it, then I can show you the rest. And we'll just sponge this. I just like doing this. I just think it's a lot of fun. I would not recommend, I tried to, when I was coloring it, I tried to use the pan pastels with coloring, and it did not work. So just use the reinkers when you do this. Okay, there we go. And then all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to lift this up. And I don't know if you can see this very well because it's going to be white on white, but it gives it this just cool look. And the glare from the sun is acting up, so it's going to be even harder for you guys to see it. Sorry. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put this back on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the one out that I had done prior to this, and I'm going to put it down here. Then what we're going to do is, this is the fun part, is we're going to take the Fun Stampers Journey inks, and what I do is I keep the Dauber sponges on the bottom of it. I just put Velcro on the bottom, and then you just peel it up, and then you just put it on the Dauber. Okay, and then what I'm doing is I'm going to take the bubble gum and put it into the bubble gum, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to just put it like this. I'm just going to start putting it down. Isn't that cool how this works? It does not stick to the white, to the gesso, so it just kind of moves it around. Isn't that cool? It just gets the backing of it. But like I said before, is if you try this with the pan pastels, your pan pastels will stick to the gesso, so it won't work using the pan pastels. Okay, and I'm going to put just a little bit on this bottom part here. Just like that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just put this aside. So this is the bubble gum. Then I'm going to use the pretty Amethyst, and I'm going to peel this off, put this on, and then put it on here, and then just kind of put the pretty Amethyst in here. Isn't this pretty? And it's going to be darker at first, and it's going to be darker because of the ink's wet. But once your ink dries, then it will dry lighter, so that it will be more like this card here instead of the darker look. And then the last color that I'm going to use is the Banana Cream. Now the Banana Cream, or the inks, if you noticed, I'm using the lighter color inks. When you use darker color inks, it's going to be dark. It's going to be quite dark. But I have tried the darker ones. I have a tendency to like more your pastels and your lighter inks when I'm doing this. And then we're just going to put this on like this. I do not worry about mixing the colors. I am mixing colors. In fact, I'm going into the purple, see, and it just doesn't really do too much to it. So I think it's just very cool how you do it. So you can't really mess it up. If I can't mess it up, you can't mess it up. So, and that's how that's it. That's how we did it. So if you have any questions, I just want just go ahead and message me. And then I don't want to bring it up too close because of the lighting. And that's it right there. Isn't that pretty? It's just so pretty the way it's done. So, and that there are your 3 techniques on different ways that you could use the Journey Gesso. I will have my cards on my Facebook page with all the supply lists of everything that I use to make these 3 cards. I'd like to thank you for joining me today, and have a good day, okay? Thanks. Bye.